Hello, beautiful people. We're back with another real-time expedition guide. No bells and whistles, just straight to the action. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Or don't. I'm not your mother. First up, you see this hive here. We're going to skip it and keep running to the named enemy on the bridge. You'll see some steps to the left here, right past the doorway. While the group is killing, one DPS should go down the stairs and mine the concentrated blight in the back of the room. It's like a dark, muddy, brown-gray rock with green dots. You'll know it when you see it. If you aggro the ranger down there, just ignore him and run back up to the team. He's going to de-aggro. Once the blight is mined, the door opens and we can go through and kill Taxi, another named enemy. Technically, his name is Taxodius, but everyone calls him Taxi. If you ever see someone asking for Taxi Farm in recruitment chat, this is what they're doing. Running in, opening the door, killing this named enemy, and restarting. You can get the life staff named Lifewell Channeler here, and it's one of the best in the game. I don't personally use it, but it's a good one. Okay, so let's talk about some important stuff. What you're going to see here is a Genesis speedrun. We're going to be skipping non-essential mobs, killing named enemies, and doing the mechanics, of course. Genesis is an Angry Earth dungeon, so if you're going to be running in a lot, use Angry Earth Ward for protection and Angry Earth coatings for some extra damage. As far as elemental protection goes, you only have to worry about the mutation damage type here. For example, this week's mutation was ice, so I threw on my frozen protection amulet. I was already running opals for protection against anything while queuing random mutations. If you don't want to change gems all the time, I suggest doing that. Run opals and a protection amulet. Always use protection, boys and girls. After killing Taxi, we're going to run for a little bit. A good efficient Genesis run involves a lot of sprinting and avoiding. To avoid aggroing the mobs along the road, we're going to jump on the tree root from the stairs here and then run along the tree line. Be careful, there's one on the road here hiding in the bushes. You're probably going to aggro him, but that's okay. It's better to aggro him than the hives on the road because then you'll have two hives to deal with. We're going to group up here by the named enemy in front of the imbued shrine and kill everything that moves. If you've got Angry Earth trophies in your house, that's great because you're going to do some real big booty damage here in Genesis. Genesis is fun because it's a very fast-paced expedition, and that's also why you'll see people farming it. It's fast, so you can make more gold per hour running this expedition than some of the other ones. It's honestly always been one of my favorite expeditions in the game. Alright, after the mobs have been dealt with, someone can go cleanse the concentrated blight to get the Azoth seed. Everyone else should make their way to the imbued font to wait for them to plant it. Once the seed has been planted, it's your job to protect the tree at all costs. You can see here that the Azoth sapling has a health bar. If that bar depletes, you'll have to plant the seed again and start over. There are 3 waves of Angry Earth enemies that spawn far out and charge the tree. As a group, you should focus on aggroing the enemies off of the tree and then kill them. Just do whatever you have to do to stop them from hitting the tree. It's just a baby. There are a lot of enemies that spawn during the waves, so staying close together as a group will make the healer's job a lot easier in this part, especially since things tend to get a little spicy. The tree protection phase is not on a timer. Even after all of the enemies have spawned, it won't end until you've killed them. If someone in your group has a great axe, using Gravwell here is amazing. My eyes light up when I spawn into a random mutation and see someone with a great axe. Once you've completed the waves, someone in the group should gather a sapling branch from the Azoth Tree. We're going to need it later. Once that's done, we're back to running and avoiding. The roads in New World, as I'm sure you've noticed out in the open world, are not always safe. Here we're going to avoid the hive on the road by running into the bushes and around the base of the big tree. Next, you'll run through the bushes some more, but don't go too far to the right because there's a hidden enemy there. Head towards the big tree in front of you, go over the roots, and then you can attack the mini taxi on the road. Now, we are skipping a lot of enemies, and part of your score is based on kills. To compensate for the kills that we're missing, make sure that someone from your group is gathering the resources along the way. You can see them going for a swim in the background here to mine the rock. After little taxi is dead, we'll run past all of the mobs on the path and head up the stairs to the next checkpoint. At the checkpoint, you can stop and kill everything that's following you, and then it's time to take on the first boss. Another tip for Genesis is to bring blight tinctures. A blight tincture will fully remove the blight affliction and give you a minor resistance to it for a short time. I wouldn't say they're required, especially in an M1 or M2, but you do get blighted in this expedition, and that can suck. When you're blighted, you deal 50% less damage, you receive 75% less healing, and you take a bleed over time that lasts for 3 minutes. Man, that mob really had it out for me. Okay, before we get there, I want to start talking about the first boss. If you have some veterans on the team, you might see the mask all in or 4 in 1. We're going to DPS the boss down until he runs into the center of the room and puts up a protective barrier. At that point, you have a decision to make. Go inside the barrier or stay outside. I recommend that teams always try all in first. 1 in, 4 out should be a last option if the DPS just isn't there. But with power creep, even in random groups, the DPS should be fine for all in both M1 and M2. While you're DPSing the boss down, he'll turn and look at the person standing farthest away, and then throw some vines at them that pulls them into melee distance. All you have to do to avoid getting pulled in is dodge. Okay, now let's talk about what happens when that barrier comes up. You'll see it spawn in the middle of the room, and you have a few seconds to run inside before the walls come up. Once the walls are up, you're stuck wherever you are. Outside of the barrier, enemies are going to spawn, and for now they can't do anything to you. Inside of the barrier, the boss is going to perform a charging animation. During this animation, you need to heavy attack to break down his stamina. If you don't deplete the stamina bar under his health before the animation is over, he's going to insta-kill the team. We killed this a little fast, but I'm going to finish explaining the rest. But also, that's what a good kill looks like, and that's what I wanted to show you guys. So basically, you just need to do big booty damage. If you don't kill him fast enough, the boss will then start to dive under the water and jump attack team members. Once this stops, you'll have another chance to DPS him down before the barrier goes away. And that just repeats until you kill the boss. But of course you will have to deal with the enemies that spawn on the outside too. Oh, and there's a mushroom in the middle of the barrier. If for some reason it doesn't get killed while you're attacking the boss, just kill it. Okay, back to what we're doing now. One of the DPS on the team should use their Azoth staff to grab the flame. The flame is used to break down the vegetation barriers in the doorways. Right behind where you get the flame is a wall that you can burn down. Have anyone with a ranged weapon, like the light staff, shoot at the named enemy to aggro it to the team. You'll be able to see just the tippy top of his head poking out down the stairs. At the same time, someone else should go to the opposite side of the flame and aggro the other named enemy that has spawned where you just killed the boss. Or the same person can do it. Preferably you kill them together in the small room by the flame. We also managed to aggro the hive, but that's okay, they don't really matter. After you've killed the 2 named enemies, have one of the DPS grab the flame again. The tanker healer could technically grab it, but you don't want that to happen because when they do, things tend to get a little too spicy. The team should then walk together along the side of the room until you get to the vegetation wall. Have the flame bearer knock it down by simply walking through it and then keep moving along the path and up the stairs. Keep in mind that the person holding the flame is going to walk very slowly. One of the DPS just gave him a little speed boost with the ice shower. That's a pro strat. You are able to sneak past this enemy without aggroing him, but I'll be honest, it's a little hard. If you aggro him, don't worry, just go up the stairs and kill him there. Unless he's going for your flame bearer, in that case, get him immediately. An easy way to make sure he doesn't go for the flame bearer is to just give him a little love tap with your weapon. Now, the flame bearer is not going to be able to fight during this part. Their job is to hold on to the flame like it's the last piece of cake on Earth. The rest of the team is going to have to protect them. At the top of the stairs, we're going to kill the archer and anything else that followed us so that the flame bearer can pass by safely. Then follow along the wall and jump down to the ground below. Do not go through the middle because you'll have to deal with the hives and that's just unnecessary. Once you're at the bottom, you'll see some regular enemies and a named enemy in front of you. You can have someone with a ranged weapon aggro them to the team one at a time if you want to be chill about it, or you can just run in weapons blazing and fight them all at once. It's a little spicy, but you'll be okay. The pro strat is to fight them all at once, and while the team is distracting them, the flame bearer keeps moving forward to burn down the last vegetation wall and place the flame in the conservatory that's up ahead. You can see the conservatory in front of us where the blue flame is. If for any reason the flame is dropped before it's placed in the conservatory, then someone will have to go all the way back to where you got it from and grab it again. That's that ish we don't like, so don't drop the flame. Next, we're going to jump over the wall and kill the 2 named enemies that are below. Now, something that I've noticed is that some teams are waiting to place the flame to take down the mobs one by one. The pro strat is to just place the flame and go kill the enemies, preferably at the same time. If you want to kill them at the same time, make sure to aggro the meleeer and bring them over to the archer. But you can also kill them one at a time without waiting to place the flame. What I'm saying is there's no reason to wait to put it down. If you want to kill them one at a time, just do that by not aggroing the other enemy. And I mean, either way, it's not that hard to kill them quickly, and it's better to have the whole team attacking. If someone on the team is trying to do that, it's not worth arguing over, but definitely try and convince them to place it and kill. There's no reason to overcomplicate things. Once you've reached this checkpoint, it's time to head to the last boss. I've got about 3 minutes to explain the mechanics of the last boss, so let's get started. This is a worm boss who can hit you from both ends, the hands and the tail. You want to avoid standing by the tank if you can. The boss has a few attacks. First there's the slam where the creepy worm lady slams the ground and deals damage. This usually hits the tank, so that's why you don't want to stand next to them. Every once in a while, the boss is also going to throw a few shots at the person standing farthest away. If you don't dodge, don't worry, they don't hit you that hard. Also during the fight, some green balls are going to appear in melee distance. These are going to spawn right about now. These are bad touch, avoid them like the plague. As the balls move around, poison pools will appear on the ground. These are extra spicy, and as you can see here, if you stand in them, your health disappears pretty quickly. Here you can see the boss doing her underground attack where she, you guessed it, goes underground and pops up on the person farthest away from her. You should do the opposite of what I just did. The pro strat is to group up and hold block until she's done. Or you can face tank it and have some fun like I did. Okay, during the fight, the boss is going to target the person standing farthest away and drop a boulder on them. Dodge out of the way to not get hit. During the fight, the boss is also going to tether to the farthest player in the room, and after a few seconds, a poison field appears where that person is standing. If you get a green line attached to your player, you're tethered and should run away from the team, preferably as close to the wall as you can get to drop the poison. Okay, let's go back to those boulders. If you were getting the rock dropped on you, try and make sure to not stand next to the wall, because the team will need to be able to go behind the boulder when she does her ultimate attack. The floor turns green and you have a few seconds to run behind a rock. If you're not behind a rock when she launches the attack, you get insta-killed. My toxic trait is not telling new players to hide behind the rocks and watching them go kaboom. It's bad, I know. The last thing you should be aware of is that the boss also has poison breath that usually hits the tank. Again, just don't stand next to them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You just DPS her down and she'll repeat these mechanics until you kill her or she kills you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the guide. Special thanks to Kurok, Nikcole, Ashley, and Cathsow for helping me film. As always, like, subscribe, share, and most importantly, be kind to one another. See you next time, friends!